Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds. It's time for ranking every commander.
We are ranking all the legends from new Capenna Commander.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your Speezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. We're bringing you videos every single day, which, if you're a binge watcher, that's got to be the best channel ever for you. So if you want to support the best channel ever for you, you can go to TCG Player because we got a link in the description. It's an affiliate link, so when you buy cards normally through that link, as long as you start, when you check out, we're going to get a kickback on the order courtesy of TCG Player, and you spend nothing extra? What? Mutually beneficial stuff?
You gotta be kidding me. And stay tuned for the middle, because guess who sponsors this video?
Moxfield.
Moxfield.com, baby.
They're coming.
So
It's coming, and you won't expect it.
You're never gonna expect it. It'll be a surprise. Sneak attack. Moxfield ad, baby. We love Moxfield. They love us. And you're gonna find an ad in the middle of this. No, what we love that doesn't support us.
Birthdays?
Yeah, they do come around for us once a year, but we want to see birthdays a little more. So
Where has birthdays been for me lately?
Yeah, exactly. So we want to wish everybody, of course, watching a happy birthday, and all your pets too, of course.
Yeah, so what the heck is ranking every commander?
Yeah, ranking every commander is where we take the newest commanders, all 18 from the new Capenna Commander product, and we put them into a master list. Mm-hmm. We have already ranked every single commander that has come out up to this point.
That's impressive.
Yeah, they're in a list where they're in order of how they rank, and they're ranked by 5 things. BZ, what are those 5 things?
They are power, fun, artwork, coolness, and uniqueness, all 5 factors that contribute to what makes a commander good. What makes me want to play a commander? We all know that commander is not just a format about power. It's about a bunch of different, emotions and feelings and, connections with cards and stuff. So this takes every aspect of the card and just talks about what kind of card and commander is this. If you want a power list, just kind of focus on the first one, I guess, and ignore the out of 50 score.
So there's 18 commanders to rank here. We start with the lowest and we go to the highest, and this one is Vazi, Keen Negotiator. It is above on our master list Mariki Re Barrett, and below Radiant Sarah Archangel at number 862 of all time. 2 black, red, green for a legendary creature, Human Advisor. Has haste, and it's a 3/3. Tap. Target opponent creates a treasure token where X is a number of treasure tokens you created this turn. Whenever an opponent casts a spell or activates an ability, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it or activate it, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, then draw a card. So this card's just kind of bad. It gives your opponents resources for free, and if they use those resources, you get something back. But they just don't have to use the resources. They can all kind of make a pact together easily. It's going to happen sometimes. Nobody use the treasures. Really simple. We don't have to use these stupid treasures. And guess what? Now they're stuck with an awful card that just gives away treasures. And then when it dies, guess what? Now you can use your treasure.
Yep, and the problem with the ability, too, is that, if you give me 4 treasures, I'll just sack them all at once. And you only get to draw 1 card. So it's you just gave me 4 mana. And that's and then now I have all this tempo to play more spells, and it's all you got out of it was a counter and a card. This has just got so many problems with it. I like the cool design. I like that you can team up with people in theory, but to me, playing against this card, it's thanks for the free stuff. All I know in my head is it's on layaway. I don't actually have it now. As soon as she dies, then I'm going to start using the free stuff.
Yeah, I think it needed some sort of goat ability. The treasure, by that I mean when the treasure came out, it needed to go hey, I'm here. Next time you cast a spell or do an ability, you have to use me.
Or a treasure, and the treasure gains when you sacrifice this, this person draws or whatever. I don't know. We're not here to balance the card. We're just here to tell you it's not very good. Although I think it is really fun, especially since you're trying to make deals. There's nothing unfun about this card. It's pretty fair. You're giving out resources. You're getting some. It's probably the treasure deck.
It's also going to pair up really well against random decks. There's a Prosper deck at your table. Holy crap, this card's amazing. There's other decks that are making treasures. This card can just be good at random times. But overall, it's weak because you can't plan for that. And like I said, these treasures aren't being forced to be used in any way.
Yeah, the art actually, this is the lowest art grade. I just didn't really like it. I don't know what she's doing. And that just ties right into the lore. The lore is a Riveteer's woman. And it's I don't know this person. This is just a human being. So most of these legends had stories. Nothing for Vazi, which we normally is the key contributor to coolness. Vazi's not doing anything in her art. She's got some kind of purpley container thing. That might be where the 1 comes in.
Yeah, if you're wondering how coolness works, it's the character. This can be how the character is depicted in the art, not necessarily how good the art is. But again, like BZ said,
The story, the lore,
the character, the
background,
the person on the card. But
Vazi's not cool.
It does not have it. So let's move on to literally just Oskar. Oskar, also he's rubbish, which is another word for garbage.
They probably did that intentionally.
He's Oskar the Grouch. Oskar, and he's actually the Reclaimer, and he's coming in at 759 above Ariel, Knight of Windgrace, and below Ayula, Queen Among Bears. 3 blue-black for a legendary creature, human wizard, 3/3. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each different mana value among cards in your graveyard. Whenever you discard a non-land card, you may cast it from your graveyard. All right, so it's really easy to get this costing only about 2 mana. It's going to cost 2 mana early, then it'll die, and because it's later game, it's going to cost 2 mana again later game, which is going to be super nice, but it's not giving us that much. So it gives us the card, it's on the battlefield, and now when we discard, we can just, now we can cast that card if we want to. Pseudo madness to everything is kind of what we're getting here. Like, not exactly madness because it's not worded that way, but very similar. This card's okay, but we're not getting a ton of the power department.
It's just like, hey, draw a couple cards per turn, build your whole deck around it. It's cool by me. That's why the fun's just kind of up there. It gives you something to do, gives you a clear path. From there, he just says discard. So you can kind of do whatever you want. You can do wheels, you can do madness, you can do something else. You can just do like one with nothing shenanigans. I don't know. Go crazy.
Yeah, and the art looks really good. I mean, this is, you're going to notice, we didn't mention it yet, but new cards tend to
modern art is good.
Modern art on cards is good. Usually, sometimes there's really bad ones, and you'll see, and we'll talk about those exceptions, but this is just a really good one. It looks beautiful.
If Vazi had a 5, that was the lowest one on here.
That is saying something.
Yeah, so Oskar doesn't have any lore either, and as far as like uniqueness of a card goes, it costs less, you want to mill, and he discards, that doesn't, I mean, there's just not enough text on the card to get it past a 4.
I mean, it's just, for lore, I mean, he's Oskar the Grouch, because he literally, Oskar, garbage. I mean, rubbish is just,
right.
It literally is another word for garbage. What's next, BZ?
We're going to move on to Syrix, Carrier of the Flame, in between Zafai and Grismold at rank 754. 2 black-red for a 3/3 legendary phoenix with flying and haste. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature card left your graveyard this turn, target phoenix you control deals damage equal to its power to any target. And whenever another phoenix you control dies, you may cast Syrix, Carrier of the Flame, from your graveyard. So you got to find nifty ways to remove the phoenixes or whatever else is in your graveyard, and then either Syrix or another phoenix, maybe we're playing Phoenix Tribal, is just going to shoot stuff down. You can maybe get this going a couple turns. It's just kind of clunky.
It's clunky, and to get the full value, you have to be playing Phoenixes, which are lackluster. And one of my main issues is they just don't synergize with each other. They kind of just have Phoenix tend to be thing that works with the graveyard with set mechanic.
Yep.
Very, very similar. These don't really work together other than Syrix pulls it together and says, hey, yeah, the graveyard ability is what we're working with. But, like, you can't put Arclight Phoenix in this deck. That doesn't work with this deck at all. And that's a little sad that we're going to miss out on some of the Phoenixes because we don't have many Phoenixes.
There's a Metalcraft Phoenix. Do you want to play that? There's a Wooburg Phoenix that you can't play. And there's some clunky Phoenixes that just aren't worth the mana. There's a lot to figure out. But I think Phoenix Tribal is pretty nifty. There's not a, legendary Phoenix that cares about Phoenixes until right now.
Yeah, literally. This is the first we're getting of it. So it's going to be a super fun. This is a cool looking Phoenix. What is going on with this thing?
It looks like a robot, which we're not in robot territory, so I don't know what it's supposed to be. It's like chromey, kind of. It's just on fire. There's no robots on Capenna.
What's robot territory mean, though?
It just looks like a science fiction thing.
What's the lore of this thing?
The lore of this thing is a Phoenix, and there's no lore. So it's a firebird that kind of looks like a robot.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's cool. It just doesn't give me anything to work with. And as far as uniqueness goes, Phoenix Tribal, leaving the graveyard, come on.
Yeah, leaving the graveyard stuff is nothing. The Phoenix Tribal is at least a new commander type. Next, we have Bess, Soul Nourisher. It's above Anafenza, Kintree Spirit, and below Ronus the Indomitable at 724. 1 green, white for a legendary creature, human citizen, 1/1. Whenever one or more other creatures with base power and toughness, 1/1, enter the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Bess, Soul Nourisher. Whenever Bess attacks each other creature you control with base power toughness, 1/1, get +X/+X, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Bess. All right, we're starting to get somewhere here with actual powerful cards, and what I really like is she cares about base power toughness. So in the case of something like I have out, let's just say, any Anthem effect. It just doesn't matter what it is. Now when my creatures enter, they're going to be 2/2s, but it checks base power toughness, which is still going to be 1/1, meaning all the cards you put in this deck to work with her are still going to work with her. She's an overrun by herself. All the creatures in your deck are going to be 1/1s. It's designed around that. It's fairly powerful, but it's clunky and slow to get going. I think once it gets going and you're on board, it attacks really big because you can just like make 5 tokens, like play even something like
Secure the waste.
I was thinking like even just like the 5 mana make 5 human tokens.
Increasing devotion.
Just something as simple as that. And she's a 6/6. Now on your next attack,
Big swing.
you're attacking for everything. Is a 6/6. Now I think this card is powerful once you get it going.
Yeah, once you get it going, it's just a little slower. You got to put all the counters on this, and it's a very known variable. So I think there's a lot of room for your opponents to figure things out. I like the fun aspect. I like playing little dinky tiny creatures, trying to figure out, hey, what's a good 1/1 that is not playable in other formats that actually is good in this deck.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of good 1/1s. I think you're not gonna have to stretch too far, which is really cool. This card will just be good because there are enough good 1/1s throughout
and just tokens
and scattered around the format. This is going to be a good card. Its weakness obviously is it's a big build around. It's going to be super duper fun. I can't even get over how like silly and fun this is, and I love this art. She's literally like classic flapper.
Classic flapper. She is a chef who just like was up in the top ranks of the chefs, and then now she's like, I just want to feed people. Apparently her food is like amazing. Like super good. Like it literally like nourishes your soul. Like literally.
She's flapper chef.
Flappers couldn't do that.
This one could.
The food just like makes your day.
So it heals your soul?
It's just like the best thing you've ever had.
It makes you more powerful is what's interesting. Because like
this is a good soup.
Healing would be like, hey,
regenerate.
Regenerate you or you gain life. That's like usually healing.
Overrun, destroy cities.
A shield counter.
My soup destroys civilizations. This is not a super unique card. The base part is really the core of it. Otherwise, it's like tokens and counters, and we've seen that before. Let's go on to the next one. It's Kros. Defense Contractor, ranking 563 above Nikia and below Emil the Blessed. 1 green, white, blue for a 2/4 cat advisor. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a shield counter on target creature an opponent controls. Whenever you put one or more counters on a creature you don't control, tap the creature and goad it. It gains trample until your next turn. I kind of like the second ability, and the first ability just seems like, he wants to pay himself off a little bit, but I do not want to wait for shield counters and rely on that. So just figure out a way, support cards, ways to move counters. Generous Patron's a good one. Throw counters on your opponent's things, and then they're all going to be goaded. If you start proliferating, they goad over and over and over. So that could be something you do.
Yeah, the goading, I think the proliferating is the key to this deck.
Yeah.
You want to put the counters out, make sure your opponent's stuff has filled with counters, and then you can goad every single turn. The scary part about this card, and the real weakness, because it is pretty strong, the weakness that's keeping it down is you are buffing up your opponent's creatures, and you have to do it at a high rate in order to keep Kros doing his thing, meaning that as soon as he's not doing his thing, there's threats sitting on the opposite side of the battlefield.
Yeah, and you better figure out a one-on-one strategy, because goad is not helping you.
Not even at all. So this is it's a 10 for fun. I think it's awesome just to get everything attacking my opponents over and over again. I like the strategy. I think putting +1/+1 counters on my opponent's stuff is a extremely, unique strategy. It's got a 7 in uniqueness because it's not really something we've seen before. Yeah, we've seen +1/+1 counters. We've seen proliferate stuff. Have we seen we want to pump up our opponent's stuff? Kinda, but not really.
Yeah, give them shield counters and trample and goad them. Pretty sweet stuff. I like his little sassy business person look. It works for him. Unfortunately, he has no story. I don't think he really does anything noteworthy at all.
He's a defense contractor.
Who's next? Maybe somebody with more lore.
Phabine, Boss's Confidant, above Chromium the Mutable, and below Sidisi, Blood Tyrant, F5, 33. 3 red, green, white for a legendary creature, Cat Advisor, 3/6. Creature tokens you control have haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each land revealed this way, you create a 1/1 green-white citizen creature token. Then, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn for each non-land revealed this way. Then, each player draws a card. This is a lot of mana, and you do get something right away, but you're also giving away cards. So you're going to get some creature tokens. This is a go-wide, very common strategy we're seeing in Naya, especially for this set. It's okay.
It's really expensive.
It is really, really expensive. And I really think the weakness is, giving away cards I could deal with if we had some control over this. But unfortunately, When we want the pumps, we can't necessarily get the pumps. And when we want the creatures, we can't necessarily get the creatures. We're just stuck with a grab bag of whatever we get. And that's ultimately, I think, the biggest downside of this card.
You get what you get. But with variance comes fun. And we're giving stuff away. We're parlaying. I mean, the mechanic is not designed for power as much as it is for just like an enjoyable, fun experience. And you're going to get that.
Also, parlay is so weird. Like, it is just such a weird ability because it wants you to reveal the card, and then it has to say at the end, draw, because of how weird it is.
Right, it's like, and also, draw, now that you've revealed it. I like the art a lot. She's like so I'm going to tie the art into the coolness. It doesn't say anything about her, but I'm going to use context clues and maybe a little bit of headcanon. Boss's confidant, she's in a chair, and she's like, she's writing.
Therapist.
Taking notes, yeah. And there's a guy in the other chair going like this. Ugh. And I'm going to go with therapist. So gangster therapist sounds really cool, so it's going to get at least a 4 despite having almost nothing written about it.
Yeah, I might have given it a little bit higher because that's a pretty cool thing. Like,
I wish they would have said it.
All the bosses come in and just complain about all their problems to her.
I would really like it if they just had like real problems, like, sometimes I just have trouble getting out of bed in the morning. They have like imposter syndrome. Do I deserve to be the family leader?
That's not even like, what's weird is the boss that they show there is not a regular boss. Like, she's
Jetmir's confidant, so I don't know who that other guy is.
That guy is just some guy with giant hands who's screaming about gabagool. Gabagool. All
right, let's go to the next one. This card is a tank. It's the Beamtown Bullies. They are above Nylea, God of the Hunt, and below Sidisi, Undead Vizier. 1 black, red, green for a 4/4 with vigilance and haste. Tap. Target opponent whose turn it is puts target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under their control. It gains haste. Goad it. At the beginning of the next end step, exile it. All right, Amber's joined us for this one because she just loves this card. The problem with this one, it ranks super high in power, but it ends up kind of middle of the road overall just because of it's lacking in the other categories. But holy crap, this card is like so strong that I think it's losing fun points because if you don't know, there's a bunch of creatures that just suck. And we can give them away basically just for free. All we got to do is put it in our graveyard, which is super easy. Play the Beamtown Bullies. They have haste, pass, and then go, whoop, you get a leveler, or you get a Hellcarver Demon, which has to attack, or you get the thing that makes you skip 2 turns, whose name I can't remember.
Yeah, there's a lot of stupid cards we can just give our opponents. And another thing is, like you mentioned, you can do the leveler thing. You can do all those cards. You don't have to. You can just give them normal creatures, and they'll be goaded, and they're going to be punching your opponents down.
That's still good, even if you're not destroying their entire life right away. I mean, even the backup plan is still pretty decent. But I don't think this commander is going to be a lot of fun to play against. You probably just have to kill it at all times.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. If you see a leveler in the graveyard, you could die at any time. So this cannot stay on the battlefield. It's eating the first removal spell any of the 3 players have.
Yeah, I mean, if I see the Beamtown Bullies in the command zone before we start the game, I know that I need to kill it.
Yeah, you need to keep it off the battlefield. Art's pretty good. They're just a bunch of, Beamtown Bullies.
I wish they looked a little bit more like bullies, and there's no lore. They're just a group of riveteer people. I assume it's like the big hulking orc guy and his 2 devil buddies on the beam. I just need more. I need more bullies.
I mean, their name is amazing.
Their name is good.
Because it's a play on Beamtown, obviously.
Beamtown? It just says Beamtown.
Oh, Bean.
Oh, Beamtown.
Beamtown,
yeah.
Like Boston, yeah. So it's just a play on that. And then for uniqueness, it gets a 7. I mean, this is a put stuff from our graveyard onto our opponent's side of the battlefield card. That's not super common.
They're really throwing around goad.
Up next is the Pulverizer. Perrie the Pulverizer. He's at 485, above Zamone and below, spoiler alert, 1 green, white, blue for a 3/3 legendary creature, Rhino Soldier. When he enters the battlefield, put a shield counter on target creature. When Perrie attacks, target creature you control gains trample against +X, where X is the number of different kinds of counters among permanents you control. This thing takes a lot of setup, and it's got to get going, but once it gets going, it can really pump for a lot of damage. You're going to start commander damaging people out real fast if you just want to pump him.
Yeah, I think you probably just have to pump him for like the best results, or you can get like a double strike creature, or you can give him some double strike counter or something. But you want to get the Ikoria counters, you want to be proliferating, you want to get +1s, loyalty. You're going to need a fair bit because he's only a 3/3, so there's work to be done. But I think it's going to be fun to get the work done.
Yeah, I think counters are all the unique and fun different counters that we have, especially with the Ikoria type counters. Just make this card really cool, and you're going to just enjoy playing with it. You're going to build a fun, unique deck. Art is a 10 out of 10. I mean, he's a pulverizer.
He just looks like he will destroy you. And this character, is pretty fun. He was a boxer, kind of like rough and tumble, very brutish. Also, just randomly illiterate, which I just kind of found amusing for whatever reason. It's just like this giant hulking rhino. I guess he just can't read.
That's
just like Perrie the platypus, right?
I was thinking, who can't read? Floyd Mayweather, who was a boxer.
Whoa.
He's the Floyd Mayweather of this plane.
Yeah, they're doing Floyd, but he's a rhino.
And he's also Perrie the platypus.
Yeah, I don't know why they chose Perrie. That is like so not an intimidating name.
Not even remotely close to an intimidating name at all.
Yeah, the only unique part is like the shield counters, and then it says different kinds.
Yeah, but different kinds of counters is fairly unique, but not on this side where there's 30 cards that say that.
Let's move on over to Bennie Bracks, zoologist. He's ranking in at 484, above Perrie, and below Killian, ink duelist. 3 and a white for a legendary elf druid. He's a 3/2. He's got Convoke, so you can cast him for free if you got a bunch of creatures. And at the beginning of each end step, if you created a token this turn, draw a card.
This is a mono white elf druid. That's so
Each end step
weird.
I'm drawing cards?
Yes, I mean, you just need to be making tokens over and over again. This is a great draw engine for any tokens deck. Even if you're only drawing on your turn, it's still pretty strong.
And he just poops all over commander tax. He's like, no, don't worry about it. Costs 6, 8. It's fine. Just play some tokens, and I'll cost like 2 mana just forever. This guy's sweet.
Yeah, it's nice and strong. It's going to be good card draw, especially for a mono white deck. It's nice to have it's nice to have in the command zone a way to draw in white. So this is definitely going to be awesome for that. I think it's going to be pretty fun overall. It's going to be a token deck. It's going to be mono white. We have seen this before, so it's not super crazy unique, but I think the card draw does add some uniqueness.
It's nice to have, but it's not like this is any different from most of the other decks you're playing. So it's just like your average mono white tokens level. I like the art. He's got his little bird friends, and there's like a weird animal in the back, and he's like looking into stuff, and he just seems like a cool dude.
What is he? Is he just a zoologist?
Kinda. He's like the zoologist for the stars, they said, where he like smuggles in all the like rare breeds from like exotic places. He's got his own birds. They're like fancy birds that you can't really get anywhere else. I don't even know how that's possible. And he takes them around, and he's just he's a cool dude.
On that note, let's move on to the next one. It's Denry Kiln, editor-in-chief, above Shorkai, Genesis Engine, and below Halana and Elena, partners, at 468. 2 white-blue for a legendary creature, Cat Advisor 2/2. It enters the battlefield with your choice of a +1 counter, a first strike counter, or vigilance counter on it. Whenever a non-token creature you control enters the battlefield, if Denry has a counter on it, put the same number and kind of counters on that creature.
So think Master Biomancer, but for any type of counter and in the command zone.
Yeah, so we want to get this going. We want to put all sorts of counters on it. I think the main weakness of the card is it's in blue-white, which isn't the best counters because we don't have green. If you had green to this card, I think a green-white card, this is a much stronger card as it's much easier to get all sorts of counters on it. Still overall pretty good, but nothing crazy that we haven't seen before. 10 for fun. We just want to Voltron with counters on to our Denry, which is such a dumb name. It's Henry with a D.
Denry Klin. Yeah, you put a bunch of counters and it's like a Voltron, but then you're like securing the wastes and making a bunch of like basically clones of Denry who just have all these messed up abilities. And as far as he goes, yeah, I'll take the +1 counter, please, not the other stuff. Whenever he enters, he's going to get a +1.
He can get the +1 counter because you want all your creatures to enter a +1 counters, but you can just start proliferating that, get your guy really big. It's going to be pretty dang good. Like you said, this is just a super fun deck. Art is totally fine. He's just hanging out there.
Another cat business person.
He's an editor-in-chief for the newspaper, obviously.
Yeah, he's really passionate about his newspaper. He considers the 5 newspaper,
families?
No, he considers the 5 newspaper like editing companies as the secret 6th family. And it's like, dude, that is like so dramatic. You write the news. Sometimes you lie about the news. You're like manipulating people. I get it. But you're not a crime family.
No. Yeah.
The comparisons this guy makes, overreaching. So only a 5.
Yeah. And for uniqueness, it's a 7. This is Voltron with counters on one creature.
In blue.
And that makes all of our creatures into it. It kind of gets over like one of the weaknesses of a Voltron type deck where you go all in on one creature. Because now all of our creatures are going to be doing the exact same thing as they enter.
Yeah, give me that Tyrite Sanctum for indestructible counters.
What do we have next, BZ?
Oh, we got Mary the Killing Quill. She is above Balthor the Defiled and below Sephirus of the Hidden Ways, ranking in at 457. 1 black for a 3/2 vampire assassin. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it with a hit counter on it. Assassins, mercenaries, and rogues you control have death touch, and, quote, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a hit counter from a card that player owns and exile. If you do, draw a card and create 2 treasure tokens. So Flavorfully, I have no idea what's going on. The guy's already dead. There's no hit. You just taking it. It's like a scavenging type thing. But anyway, if you sneak through a bunch of mostly just assassins and rogues, for each one that hits, as long as they've got creatures that are exile with hit counters, you're like getting a bunch of mana and drawing cards, like over and over.
Well, this is all this is an attempt to fix the hit counter thing that they've been trying in different ways, where it's like you
Etrada?
Shovel and was it Kellis who like kind of put things
Kelsian?
the Fiend Hunter Mathis, yeah, all those were like trying to like, hey, let's throw out some counters and get them going, but they weren't good, so they tried this new design that seems like it's a lot better.
It seems strong. I mean, it's not a flavorful design, but it's a powerful design.
No, I mean, to be fair, it is. So what they have to die with her around, and then if they had a bounty on them, you have to go get their body and bring their body in to get the money in the card.
You know what? We'll say that's it, and I like it. The fun factor is through the roof because you get to play mercenaries, and your fallback is just all the good rogue cards that you already have that are unblockable. You can play mercenaries and assassins, dude.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the first mercenary assassins commander for sure, right?
For sure. I don't even have to double check that.
You don't even have to double check that. What do you think of the art?
I think the art is okay. I wish there was more cool stuff for her, which leads again right into the segue of there's no lore on this woman. I don't know what her life is about. I know that she cares about rogues and she has a quill. I don't know why, but there it is.
Yeah, exactly. What does it mean to be the killing quill?
Does she kill quills?
Or does she kill with a quill? Or is she secretly a quill in disguise? Like, if she unzips her bodysuit, does she fall and it's just a quill and it falls over?
Right. We'll never know. And for that, you get a 2.
Yeah, and for uniqueness, this is an 8.
Come on.
Mercenaries and rogues, it's really cool to have something that cares about them.
Counters in exile?
Finally, counters in exile, a lot of cards put counters in exile.
Not a ton.
I think there's like 10.
Removing counters from there's just all this different stuff.
You're fulfilling bounties, which is really cool.
Yeah, 3 mana, 3/2. That's really unique. What's our next card?
Well, it is Moxfield.com.
Gotcha.
Which is the greatest website of all time. It is a deck building website that is extremely easy to use. You head over, you just start building decks. Everything. You can sort the deck easily the way you want it to be. Like, you just, how do you like to look at your decks? Mana value?
Price.
Tags. Color. Types. I said types twice.
It's so intuitive. You could not even know anything about the website. Just log on, and you get the basic idea. It's like, oh, there's the button for a new deck. Well, that's what I want to do. Okay, click it. Oh, they just asked me who my commander is. Well, I know who my commander is. Type it in. It's like, oh, do I have a list to paste in? Because it says I can do that right here. If not, all I got to do is start searching in the search bar and fill in the deck list, and it's just such a good resource. Please use it if you're not. And follow us.
Yeah. Follow us on Moxfield.com. Head over there and use not only the best deck building website, but the most intuitive and easy to use deck building website.
I know I'm going to after this.
I always do.
Take it from me.
Yeah. Next is Kamiz, which is a weird name. Obscura Oculus, above Corvoli, God of Kinship, and below Jadzi, Oracle of Arcavios. 1 white, blue, black for a legendary creature, Cephalid Rogue 2/4. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature can't be blocked this turn. It connives. Then choose another attacking creature with lesser power. That creature gains double strike. So the key to this card is getting in with some unblockable type things and then giving some other thing double strike. It's kind of weird, but I think it's pretty strong. I think the looting on connive is very good, and then you just start discarding, which you're going to have ways to use those cards because you built your deck around this commander. You just get your guys a little bigger, get in, give 1 double strike. It's going to be strong.
Yeah, Connive Unlimited is a lot different than Connive and Commander. We're happy to just throw non-lands out willy-nilly. Like, we don't need them or we want them in the graveyard. We got way more synergy than a limited deck, so we don't have a problem. We're going to get the counter most of the time. Definitely deserves a 6 for power. There's just so much nonsense you can sneak through. Like, think about, like, Cephalid Constable, like, all that kind of stuff. When they hit, they discard that many. You're going to pump them. If they're already the thing that doesn't, if they don't have blockers, you just pump them and give them the connive, smash in. Or if they're the thing that you can make unblockable, then you do that and you give double strike to something else, and it just spirals out of control really quick, especially since this ability has pseudo haste because it's just whenever you attack.
Yeah, this is also going to be a very fun commander. You got to figure out what you want to do with it. I think it doesn't build itself, this deck, at all.
No, I don't think so.
I think you have to take time, really look into it, and figure out what you want your strategy to be, because there is also a lot of ways to go, because Connive lets you go some sort of discard, reanimator type strategies along the lines, but you also want to be giving double strike, you want to be conniving, do you want to care about the +1/+1 counters? There's a lot of different ways to go with this, so you can figure out what you want to do, and I think that'll be fun both in the deck building process and on the table.
Yeah, they did a new little design with cephalids, and it's like a weird kind of spirally thing, and she's got the glowing eyes. I think it's pretty cool because it's also really goofy. She's just wearing like, new Capenna attire, but is like a fish person.
Yeah, it's just these are the fish people of the plane. They're weird looking.
Yeah, she kind of is in charge of sort of like keeping the obscura obscure. It's basically that simple. I wasn't too entertained by the story.
What do? I keep the obscura.
She doesn't like being seen because people stare at her. So I kind of felt a little bit bad.
She just, that does stink.
That stinks to be her, I guess.
Yeah, but
Get good, Kamiz.
Like you couldn't even help staring at her because she had a weird fish face.
Oh, damn. I'm sorry.
Jerk.
I'm part of the problem.
Vazi is part of the problem.
Who's next? If you pronounce this one right, I'll give you $1.
Parnesse, the subtle brush, above Kithian, hero of Akrios, and below Kolagon, Storm's Fury at 364. 2 blue-black red for a 4/4 legendary creature vampire wizard. When you or a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, counter that spell or ability unless that player pays 4 life. Whenever you copy a spell, up to one target opponent may also copy that spell. They may choose new targets for the copy. This card is extremely weak for power. It really isn't doing anything. You copy spells, then you go, hey, opponent, would you like one? And would you like to target my stuff? Because you can. It'll just cost you 4 life.
Yeah, the worst part for me, the come on really part is like they don't even have to cast the copy. You're not even forcing them to copy. It's like if I cast murder, I'm not even forcing another murder onto the table, most likely killing something I don't control. But I'm not even doing that. It's just like, hey, do you feel like murdering? And they can go, nah.
This card really should just say your opponents have to cast them, and not only do they have to cast them, but they also have to target things that aren't yours. But it doesn't do that, so it's a 2 for power, extremely weak.
Yeah, we don't need to spend too much time on the power. I think there's some fun to be had. There's a little aspect of like, hey, my things have ward, pay 4 life. 4 life's just not a lot in Commander. I do like the art though. I'll do the art and then I'll say what the lore is. I think she's painting herself, and she's
Definitely
got
is.
this like fixture that lets her see. It's like the glowing fixture lets her see what her subject, what their confident version of themselves looks like. And the reason that she's so popular among the vampires is that they can't see their own reflection, so they don't know what they look like. So they want to have paintings so they can see themselves. And I was like, wow.
But she paints the most confident version of them, so of course.
Yeah, she has special magic that like nobody else has access to that gives her access to what is most flattering.
That is really, really
yeah, it's
funny.
pretty sweet.
I mean, that's definitely why she's so high, is like this lore is absolutely amazing.
I mean, that's mwah.
Also, then this art is even better because it tells a good story because she's painting exactly what she looks like right now.
Right, exactly, because she can see it and it's like boom.
She's so confident in herself, which that's empowering. It's being so confident in yourself, like I can paint the most ideal version of myself. It's
me.
exactly me right now.
Right now, yeah. I think the effect is unique. Copying, handing out copies is like crazy words we haven't heard before.
Copy.
Yeah, before we get into, I think some of the top tippy top, we got to go shout out our patrons. They make the whole video possible. We love them as much as we can without making them uncomfortable, which is a lot to most people. And if you want to support them, there's a link in the description. You have anything to add, Jerry?
Yes, you guys are amazing, and seriously, you are the lifeblood of this channel.
For real.
We can't do this channel without you, and your direct support via patreon.com helps me out. If you guys want to help, there's a little link at the bottom of this card if you want to type it in, but if you're a normal human and aren't crazy and don't want to type in that link,
there's a link to click.
There's a link to click in the description, or you can just go to patreon.com. There's a search bar.
Yeah.
Type in Nitpicking Nerds.
Exactly what you'd think we'd be under, Nitpicking Nerds.
Yeah, so those are a lot easier ways. But if you're an absolute psychopath who loves when he sees links and videos and typing them in word for word, it's right there.
Go for it. Yeah, let's move on to Tivit, Seller of Secrets. He's above Brawlin and below Dragonlord Slumgar at 345. 3 white, blue, black for a 6/6 flying Ward 3 Council's Dilemma. When he enters the battlefield or deals combat damage to a player, starting with you, each player votes for evidence or bribery. And then for each evidence vote, you investigate. And for each bribery vote, you create a treasure token. Except, plot twist, while voting, you get an additional vote. So there's going to be 5 instances, some combination of treasures and clues that you always get. And the treasures help pay for this the next time. So this card actually seems pretty good to me.
This lets you vote an extra time? Oh my goodness, this card is so cool. Its weakness is that, well, it's just okay on like what it does itself.
Right, and it's 6 mana, but it pays for the next tax.
It does, but so that's its weakness. But I love that you get to vote an extra time. That is incredibly fun. This is the Votes Commander. get your Council's Lemma, get your Wall of the Council's cards. All of them are going to be super good because you're just going to be voting an extra time. Resolving an expropriate with this card on the battlefield is a win.
GG. That is a 99.9% win conversion.
That is time stretch with blatant thievery attached. Is that good? Because that is a time stretch.
It was already like unbeatable. Now you're just like another turn.
You know, a time stretch and blatant thievery, that's total of 17 mana worth of cards in one place.
So obviously this just sounds like super mega fun, and it looks really cool. We just built a voting deck. Maybe I'll live vicariously through that and call it a day. I'm not a big fan of this art. This is kind of like a doofy Sphinx just chilling.
Doofy?
It's like I haven't seen, this isn't blowing my mind on Sphinx art.
But it is an absolute 10 for uniqueness. Again, this is the Votes Commander. We don't have a Votes Commander. We just built one. We're like, I guess we'll pick Kenrith because we don't have any other Votes Commander. We're voting now. We got the Votes Commander.
We are voting, and my vote is to move on to Kitt Kanto, Mayhem Diva. She's above Baral and below Mogus at 302. 1 red, green, white for a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. At the beginning of combat on each player's turn, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control. When you do, target creature that player controls gets +2/+2, trample, and it's goaded. I'm picking up what she's laying down. I want to make a bunch of tokens like every other commander in this Precon set, apparently. And then I'm going to goad, much like every other commander in this Precon set. But I'm going to give it +2/+2 and trample and really spice things up.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to run small creatures that we don't, utility creatures on the battlefield, into our opponents who are going to just eat them alive. Or we're going to just, take their big, giant, stupid threat and make it attack not me.
Right. Yeah, we're running their utility threats into their other blockers.
Yeah, exactly. Even though it pumps them, it's like if you run a blood art, if you pump up a blood artist and get it to
get ready to rumble, buddy.
You get it to a 2/3, it's still gonna get eaten most of the time.
He's still gonna go bye-bye. And that I love the dynamic of that. If you can untap your creatures every turn, you don't even need that many to just start goading and then making sure you have blocks for everybody else. And it's pretty sweet. She's a sassy singer, and that is very communicated in the art, where she's just like, Apparently she has a magic microphone and can just manipulate people with her songs.
She's she's
basically a siren.
This is our second diva because Judith was a diva as well.
Yeah, she was the Scourge Diva. So this is literally like Scourge Diva plus Mayhem Devil equals Mayhem Diva.
Mayhem Diva, but this has nothing to do. Mayhem Devil and Scourge and the Diva, Judith and Mayhem Devil go together.
Yes.
This thing is nothing like those.
I don't think it is. She's not even a human, so let's go to the next one.
Neither is Mayhem Devil.
I meant Judith. Sorry.
Judith's not a human?
No, she is.
No.
So the comparison, you can't even say they're human.
Yeah. They're humanoid.
They are humanoid, much like I think everything in Magic's just humanoid at this point.
No, it's not true. I mean, most of the characters that we know and get legendary cards are humanoid.
If this card was just like a house cat, that'd be amazing.
But it sings.
Yeah, it just sings. Amber sings.
What's next?
It's Anhelo. He's above Tazri, Beacon of Unity, and below Prosper, Tomebound at rank 255. Blue, black, red for a 1/3 death touch. The first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn has casualty 2. So if you sack a creature with 2 or more power, as you cast it, you copy it. And I think this card's pretty nuts.
This card is really, really strong. It's best friends with Shark Typhoon, Metallurgic Summonings, what's the...
Decay tokens, all that crap.
Decay tokens. There's so many silly, stupid things that this card just absolutely goes nuts for. You just want to have all these dumb creatures that sacrifice to your casualty so that your first spell, you don't have to put any extra mana into it. You just have to get rid of a dumb token and you're getting 2 times the effect. This card's power is really crazy because you're just going to go Time Warp, take 2 extra turns, do stuff like it's all of that stuff. And it's going to be really easy for this card to become miserable. That's where you lose the 2 fun points because it is when you take spells that aren't meant to be cast twice and cast them twice without any extra mana, it is really strong.
It doesn't exile the spell. It just says, nope, you can just copy it. And part of the thing that I look at Anhelo and I go, hey, what does he want? Well, it says each turn, so that means I'm going to jam a bunch of instants in my deck, which means I'm going to say, draw, go, and then cast 3 instants and copy them all and just make you miserable. And you're never going to be able to kill this because I'm going to protect it forever.
Yeah, and you can just cast some small spell on your turn, like just a cantrip.
He's going to be so good.
Yeah, like if you cantrip and then Talran gives you a 2/2, you sacrifice the 2/2. Okay, I'm super in for this. This is going to be really, really strong. Even like you said, even a cantrip is insane. Preordained that you do twice is way stronger than preordained once.
That's true. I love the art. It's very colorful, and he just looks so evil. He just looks like some kind of stereotype, vampire plus mobster equals this is exactly what I'm picturing, and I love it a lot. So he just loves killing people, and he loves turning the crime scene into like a work of art and saying that it's going to look so pretty that the people who walk by are going to wish they were the one who died. It's like, this dude obviously doesn't know what dying is like.
He reminds me of Crumbopulous Michael, where he goes, oh boy, here I go killing again.
He loves it, I guess. He's super old. He's Xander's, right hand, and he actually took over after Xander got murdered. So he's the new Maestro head.
He is? Did he become a demon?
I don't know, or I don't think so. It didn't say so we're going to assume not. All of this is like one line of text on the whole card, so it's not super unique. It's like Casualty 2, but everything else is like, oh yeah, I get it. That's Grixis colors. I'm hoping this drops in price because I want to make a budget deck around this card.
Yeah, this card seems really, really strong. You can do a lot with it. You're going to absolutely pop off. All right, second from the top here, we have Jolene, the Plunder Queen. And she's above Melik, is it Paragon? And below Sakashima, the Imposter at 222. 2 red-green legendary creature, human warrior 2/2. Whenever a player attacks one or more of your opponents, that attacking player creates a treasure. If you would create one or more treasure tokens instead, create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. Sacrifice 5 treasure tokens, put 5 +1/+1 counters on Jolene, the Treasure Queen. All right, so this is pretty powerful. You're going to get at least 2 treasures every single time you attack. She can start pumping herself up. After one time doing her pump move, watch out for my pump attack.
Yeah, what?
Right after you do right after she does her pump move, she becomes a 3-hit kill from there, which is very, very threatening for a commander, considering she only costs 4 mana.
I really just look at this and I read the Zorn text on a legendary creature, and I go, this is going to be super strong. This is where all those treasure cards go, and this is where Bootlegger Stash is actually a good Magic card, because it's just going to make your deck go insane. You're playing Facebreaker, you're playing Goldspan Dragon, you're playing Zorn, you're playing this. The fact that this effect has haste, what's going to happen, I think, is when you get all set up and you play Jolene, the Plunder Queen, you're going to attack, make 2, maybe 3 treasures. They have other abilities, and then you're going to take another full turn of actions after that.
Yeah, this card is really, really good, and you can make her go big and be a threat with the treasures, because she's an outlet for your treasures if you don't have anything going.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you just have mana, so you're just going to be spending it to obviously cast spells. Super fun card. Not only do you get to use the treasures, you're giving your opponent some. Everybody gets a little something, and it's pretty good. And there's 10 on art. She's Vi from League of Legends. I'm not sure why she has the fist and everything, just like Vi. She's punching through a window.
Purple little pinkyish hair, right?
Pinkish hair. She's stealing stuff, which
Whoa.
Vi does in.
New Capenna setting's pretty similar to at least what we saw in Arcane, right?
Yeah, similar, like a steampunk-ish setting. Yeah, kind of similar.
They're ripping it off, and also just has a regular human name. Jolene hasn't done much lore-wise. She got kidnapped, and they put a team together to rescue her, and she's just kind of there. But she's cool. I like the aesthetic. Each
set we get a new treasure commander, so it can't be too exciting. It's just these are just going to get less and less unique as we go along.
Oh, I never get sick of it. Give me more.
What's the highest ranked commander, BZ, from this whole entire set?
I was surprised by this one. It's Henzi Toolbox Torre.
Great name.
It's above Lightpaws, above Eudora, and he's only ranking in at 208, which is kind of low considering our usual top spot holders. Black, red, green for 3/3. Each creature spell you cast with mana value 4 or greater has Blitz. The Blitz cost is equal to its mana cost. Blitz costs you pay costs 1 less for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. So obviously Toolbox here is the first cast. You play him from your command zone, and then boom. Your Blitz costs are 1 less, so all your 4 drops are now 3 drops. But if you play fancy 10 drops, 11 drops, 7 drops that get reduced, suddenly you're just slamming hasty threats and going ham.
Yeah, so you can choose to play your threats, get in for the beats, sacrifice them on the turn, but something really cool that I like that you can do with this is you can go ahead and play Sundial of the Infinite, put the trigger on the stack, and keep your creatures at a reduced cost if you want to do that. I'm not saying you have to, but also your creatures would have haste. So basically, it'd be reduced cost for your creatures, and they have haste. It's pretty good. It's not insane. It's not broken, but it is really cool that you get to do that. Super 10 for fun. Just slam all your creatures, keep attacking. You still have to pay the mana for it. So
it's all fair.
It's all super fair Magic, but super fun Magic at the same time.
He is standing in his Halo stash. He smuggles and does stuff for I think the Riveteers, but he keeps his own little section. He's just a little jerk, and he's just so happy about himself.
You think it's the Riveteers?
I think so.
Obviously.
Almost positive.
It is obviously the River Tears. He is Jund.
They mentioned that somebody was mad at him. It might be like the Obscura is mad at him, or they got missing shipments or something like that. He's a little prankster devil, dude.
Is he a prankster?
I don't know. He's like a criminal version.
I mean,
he just does crime.
I mean, the name is the best. One of the best things of the time. He's Toolbox. Like this is yo. That's Henzi. Toolbox Tor over there. Don't mess with him.
Yo, Toolbox, come on over here.
Get him over here. Pretty unique card. Blitz, obviously a unique mechanic within itself, but really cool design on it. I love.
Throwing around haste, drawing cards. It just does everything.
I do love me some Blitz. I think it's a very cool mechanic.
What would you do if you loved ranking every commander?
Well, I would actually go right ahead and watch one of our other videos.
Like which one?
Like the one where we ranked every commander from the new Capenna set. It's already on the screen. Haha, you guys got tricked. The video's ending. Bye. Peace out, Trap Scouts.